cooking.
Okay, just a quick roll in here. Everything's against me as far as shooting a video. Sun's in the wrong spot. This is all handheld, so bear with us. And there, of course, are the pictures and the actual written things on the blog. And I'll let Brent introduce himself and tell us what he's got with a Prius. This fascinated me, being at 6'3", that anybody could live in a Prius. He's got it mastered.
Hi, my name is Brent McAloney, and I have the Prius as my second version of my travel vehicle. I originally had a Class B, and because I drive across the country back and forth during the winter, I was using so much fuel it cost me about $5,000 a year in travel costs and just fuel. So I needed something more fuel efficient, and I decided to buy a Prius and sell the Class B. And then I had to engineer the Prius to be what I wanted it to be, because basically I wanted all the same functionality in my Class B in the Prius, which includes having a bed that's always made. So I have a place to sleep, it's dedicated, and I don't have to make it every night. I have dedicated storage for my clothing. I have a water supply, which is 6 gallons in a commercial tank that I fitted into the low wheel well in the rear seat.
Wow.
I removed the rear seats to provide the storage space, and I was also able to keep the 40% side, because we have a split fold-down rear seat where 60-40. My 60% is the sleeping bag side,
Right.
and the 40% side I have a small seat which allows me to get in and out of the car and take my shoes off and then sit on the edge of the bed and take my pants and clothes off without having to be outdoors, meaning the door of the car doesn't have to be open to do that. So I can actually move into the car, close it up, close my curtains, and be self-contained.
And so this works really all weather. It's not
It is,
you have to be a place you can set up.
This year, I'm driving south to go to Quartzsite to meet up with the RTR. It was 14 degrees just south of Harrisburg. I got a late start on that day, and the wind was blowing 20 miles an hour. I stopped in a rest area. I set the temperature inside to be 65 degrees. 65 degrees all night long, because the Prius doesn't run consistently and constantly. It only runs when it has certain needs. In this particular case, heating, it would run the heater long enough to get the heat, and then it would shut off.
Now you're saying it will start the engine automatically?
It will restart itself when it wants to do more heat. It does the same thing in the cooling mode. Cooling is different in that it runs off electricity, electrical pump, but the heat, it comes from the engine just like most other cars, except the only thing is that most cars idle constantly, and the Prius doesn't. It knows when to turn itself on and off. Now, to get myself the full compatibility of a Class B, I also needed to do a couple of things. One of them is that I wanted a house battery. So to do that, I needed to function myself to the Prius 12-volt batteries in the rear of the car. The Prius 12-volt battery is fed from a high-voltage battery, which is the hybrid battery that's under the rear seating area. The 12-volt battery gets its power from the high-voltage battery until the high-voltage battery says, I don't have any more power, and then it turns the engine on, and the engine charges the high-voltage battery, not the 12-volt battery. So I tied into the 12-volt battery. It's in the rear below this area here, and what I set it up is that I have a dedicated monitoring system, and I have behind here, I also have a 400 watt pure sine wave generator, because I have some things. Right now, I happen to be charging my little trimmer, and it's plugged into the 110. Oh. I use the 110 also for other things like that would need. I have a small little drill. If I have to charge it, I do that. The other thing that I do is during the day I run my compressor fridge, which is an Engel, and I run that off of the Prius battery. And at night I run my Prius. I run my cooler off of the house battery. The house battery are 3 gel cells, 8 amp hours apiece, all tied together for 24 amp hours. And because the Engel is so efficient in its operation and running, that I can run easily 8 hours in any temperature. with the off the house batteries.
Now I notice you've got, looks like Reflectix is a cover?
Well, what I did was, because when you close this hatch, the sun comes through here, and even with the privacy cover over it, this gets warm. So if I bring the privacy cover, which I use the privacy cover when I sleep inside, so that if I do this and then close up the curtain, people can't tell that I'm even in there.
Wow.
And my legs fit underneath here with no problem at all. So I made this, and I designed this this folding cover, and to go on top of this to keep this cool. Now you can, right now it's cool, meaning that the sun hasn't been, but during the day, if you don't have this on here, this is hot. So if this is hot, the heat is getting in,
Right.
and it will run a lot more. So I use this just to minimize the amount of power that I'm consuming on the refrigerator. Because these are tucked into the sides, so my house battery being over here, I still have full access to the trunk underneath here. So I have full access.
That's a lot of storage.
And so this doesn't hamper anything that I do. Now, what I do over here is, this is the second generation, because my first generation were those two devices there. But the second generation, I had to design ways of minimizing what I carry. And the way to do that was to rethink everything. So rather than a standard blue container, a 7-gallon container you get at Walmart, I went with a commercial water tank that sits way in the wheel well. And I pump it with a hand pump. But once you get the hand pump going, it's gravity fed anyhow, so it'll just drain through. And that allows me to access 6 gallons. 6 gallons, I have plenty of water for days with that. On top of that, I designed a clothing storage area that's dedicated, that's accessed easily while sitting in the other side. I can access my clothing. I can repack it. I can do everything from inside. And I can also do it from the outside, as you can see. But it gives me the opportunity to store my clothing in here and not have to go looking for it. The problem I had last year was that, you can just hear the Prius just started on its own.
It sure did.
Because the high voltage battery got lower, and so it's now refreshing the high voltage battery. So last year I had a problem, where are my clothes? Where are my socks? Where are my t-shirts? Where, and it became problematic trying to locate everything. So what I did was I redesigned, I had already had the platforms, but I made this box where you see the clothing storage, and that it mounts to the top of the water tank. The water tank comes with 4 holes for a pump to be mounted. I use those 4 holes to bolt that plastic box. That's all plastic wood. I got it at Home Depot. It's 1/2 inch, and I made the box enclosure, so there's no moisture absorption. I didn't have to paint it. It's all just PVC.
And light.
And it's lightweight, yes. So, and I made a notch in here so you can access the water. And right in there, you can see that's where you can take the water out and you can fill it. And I took a funnel and I cut the funnel to fit the space.
So I can get in there. Oh yeah.
And store it as well. So I have full access to the water.
And so you just stick a funnel up in there and
I have the
pour
funnel.
in whatever.
Here's the funnel, and it's been cut to size. And all I have to do is put the funnel in and fill it in the hole, and I can pour the water in.
Oh, that's great.
And then I just, when I'm not using it, I just put it in like that.
That is really good. Your engineering background has really paid off here, it seems.
Well, and what happens is, if you look up here, this is my cooking supplies. That means there's canned food, there's dry food, rice, there's oil, spray, you can see detergent, and I keep my cooking supplies, other than my stove, which goes underneath the back, underneath where I sleep. So over here there's a hole. So this table, which is designed...
and the Prius just shut itself off after it built up the charge.
I designed this table such that there is no legs and very little anything.
Wow.
It works on the spring of the door. So the door, I designed it so that...
Turn it back up one more time, please. Okay, yeah, that's just a very thin piece of plywood. And
this is Luan. plywood, they're very thin, and I made these wooden strips. And if you follow me to the other side, because the Prius is designed equally on both sides, if you invert it, it works on the other side as well.
How about
You
that?
just have the ribs facing up. So
Right.
you can actually use it on either side of the vehicle.
Right. And ribs up on that side if you're sitting in there as a work table.
Right. Well, you
Keeps
can,
up with your pencils.
Actually, well, in this particular case, you know, I have my backpacking chair because we have to carry light, and then I can sit here.
Right.
And I can do it. So what's nice about the table is that basically anyone can make one of these for their cars.
Sure.
You know, from an engineering perspective, it's simple. This slides in the space that's underneath my bed, so it conforms widthwise to my space, and then I put those bags right on top of it. So I slide the bags out, slide this out, set it up. When I'm done, I'm done.
Yeah, that is great. That is really great. Now you can see how to live in a Prius. And how long have you been out right now, Brent, on the road?
Well, this year it's 3 months now I've been on the road.
3 months. So
I've put, I know over 15,000 miles I put on it. I don't know the actual number to date,
Wow.
but I'll put on 20,000 miles this trip.
that is incredible.
And I'll spend about $1,000 in gas
For 3 months.
for 4 months.
4 months.
4 months would be about $1,000.
That is truly, truly
versus
incredible.
the 5,000. Of course, the price of gas has gone
Constantly
gone
changing.
down, but that was the reason why I went to the Prius, was because I just wanted fuel efficiency, and I was making decisions on where I went based on what it was going to cost me to drive there.
Right.
And so I limited where I went and how I did it. With the Prius, I do not think of the cost
Sure.
of where I go, because around 50 miles to a gallon, it just has no meaning to me. I can go there when I want to go.
That is incredible. Thank you for showing us around. And again, everyone, I apologize for the spur of the moment handheld sort of operation here, but you can see the Prius, and it is just incredible the way he's got this set up. So once again, get out, be safe, go adventure.